Good evening and welcome to News at 10 live on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. Our last bulletin for the day is broadcast live from our news hub in Adesawe, Kanda in Accra. Let's get interactive on Facebook and Twitter at News on TV3, and you can also follow our live stream on 3news.com. Let's begin with highlights of news on our networks today. The outgoing chairman of the legal committee of the International Maritime Organization, Dr. Kofi Mbia, has revealed Ivory Coast actually gained more territorial waters than Ghana in the ITLOS judgment. Speaking at a Media General organized lecture in Accra, he explained although Ghana still maintained oil resources within its territorial waters, Ivory Coast gained more coastal lands. In a related development, a delegation from La Côte d'Ivoire is expected in Ghana this week to discuss ways the two countries can collaborate to implement the ITLOS ruling delivered last Saturday. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid disclosed this when President Akufo-Addo and his delegation returned home from the just ended UN General Assembly meeting in New York. Meanwhile, former chairman of the Ghana-Togo Border Demarcation Commission, Sam Okujeto, is calling for a reconstitution of the commission to conclude its work. This, he says, is key in preventing any future litigation between the two countries. A lawyer for the 22 persons charged for the murder of Major Maxwell Mahama George Bernard Shaw wants the court to exclude the assemblyman for Dintra Boasi from the charges preferred against the accused persons. According to him, William Barr did not take part in the killing of the military officer, rendering the charges of conspiracy to commit murder inappropriate. Tonight, Senior Minister Yao Safo-Mafo says government expects value for money in all road projects. He has therefore cautioned road contractors against the inflating costs of projects, which he said is adversely affecting the economy. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're live on 3FM 92.7, and you can follow our live stream on 3news.com and on Facebook. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, outgoing chairman of the legal committee of the International Maritime Organization, Dr. Kofi Mbia, has revealed Ivory Coast actually gained more territorial waters than Ghana in the ITLOS judgment. Speaking at a Media General organized lecture in Accra, he explained although Ghana still maintained oil resources within its territorial waters, Ivory Coast gained more coastal lands.
In 2014, Ghana took a case to the International Tribunal of the Law of the Sea to dispel claims it has encroached Côte d'Ivoire's marine borders as part of oil exploration activities at Cape 3 Point off the shores of the Western region. Ghana's defense held that Côte d'Ivoire was barred from demanding ownership to the disputed area. It has acknowledged that Ghana owned the space without any qualms in the decades leading up to the oil discovery. Judgment was delivered in Ghana's favor over the weekend. The Media General lecture sought to make sense of the ITLOS judgment.
The court came to the conclusion that when it draws the line, out of the 200,000 square kilometers Ghana was going to get 66,000 square kilometers, and Cote d'Ivoire was going to get 133,000 square kilometers. If I put it in very simple and simplistic terms, if Ghana asked for 10, it got 8. If Cote d'Ivoire asked for 10, it got 3. But at the end of the day, it's 3. It's bigger, than Ghana's 8 because it had a longer coastline than Ghana had.
The chamber rejected Cote d'Ivoire's argument that Ghana's coastal lines were unstable, upholding Ghana's sovereignty over the disputed oil basin.
One strong argument they made, but which was rejected by the courts, was that it looks like the area that Ghana is asking for encompasses the rich resources of the basin, the Tano Basin, and therefore the courts should look at give us something small, Nukufio. But it's the principle of the court that the court will not refashion nature, and that getting an equitable result does not mean equity. Equity does not mean equal.
Breaking down the judgment, Dr. Mbia said the ruling puts to finality a sensitive issue with several implications on sectors including business and education.
So it's not just a mass of water that comes to us, but it encompasses our oil and gas resources. And now that the boundary has been drawn and those oil and gas resources are in our territory, it is very significant. Remember that the president talked about the fact that we're going to use our mineral resources for education and I'm sure for other things. So certainly if this had gone against us, it would have had very negative repercussions on us.
Meanwhile, the campaign coordinator of the Integrated Social Development Center, Asiedu-Dartey, Dr. Steve Montillo, is of the view money expended on the boundary dispute should have been footed by government and not the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC. The estimated $3 million as of 2016, he noted, could have been used for other purposes by GNPC.
Dr. Steve Montillo was responding to some questions by participants at the Media General Lecture on the ITLOS judgment.
Spent something close to $3 million on this litigation. And this money has come from GNPC's allocation for exploratory activities, something I found problematic. It means monies that could have gone into exploration have been spent on litigation. In my view, to the extent that this is a litigation between two states, the financing should have come from government's own resources. And if even GNPC was advancing money, it should have been on the basis of an agreement to refund the money to GNPC so they can use the money for the purpose for which it was approved by Parliament and allocated to it in the first place.
Other participants shared their views on the judgment.
And former chairman of the Ghana-Togo Border Demarcation Commission, Sam Okudzeto, is calling for a reconstitution of the commission to conclude its work. This, he said, is key in preventing any future litigation between the two countries.
The ruling has brought to bear the need for Ghana to agree with its neighbors Burkina Faso and Togo on its territories.
That is the best time to do negotiations, because once you begin to find resources, then tensions are high.
In 1975, a Ghana-Togo Border Demarcation Commission was appointed to draw a clear distinction between Ghana and Togo. The commission was reconstituted in 1983 when the then chairman, Sam Okudzeto, was in detention. He was appointed again during former President Kufuor's era to chair the commission, which could not complete its work on the Ghana-Togo border.
And we spent years going the boundaries with the surveyors, finding out where the boundary will be crossed. Don't forget, in the two countries, there was the agreement between Germany and England. And then Germans were defeated in the First World War. The German territory, which was Togoland, was then divided between France and Britain. And so we had to go and find out where was the agreement between the two sides, which demarcate the border.
Clearly, the purpose for which the commission was established was not fulfilled. The reason the former chairman is calling for its reconstitution to conclude its work in order to save both countries from future confusion should there be a discovery of any natural resource.
Read on boundaries as we were doing the work. As we go along the border, we agree on each side where the boundaries are. And in some instances, we'll ask certain pillars to be planted to show the level of demarcation. But so far as I am aware, they have not concluded the work. And it is important that the work be concluded, so that we don't get ourselves into this kind of mess that happened between us and Cote d'Ivoire again.
He advised the heads of both government to ensure there is no friction amongst citizens of both countries.
A delegation from Cote d'Ivoire is expected in Ghana this week to discuss ways the two countries, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, can collaborate to implement the ITLOS ruling delivered on Saturday. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid disclosed this after the arrival of President Akufo-Addo and his delegation from the just-ended United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York.
The president was met on arrival by Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, Chief of Staff Akosua Frima Osei Opare, Ministers of State and heads of the various security institutions. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid, who addressed the media, hinted President Akufo-Addo held talks with Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara on the ITLOS ruling. He noted Ghana and Ivory Coast have agreed to work to implement the ruling.
Regarding ITLOS, the two presidents have agreed that they will all abide by the judgment of the court and will work together to ensure the smooth implementation of the judgments of the court. In this coming week, the Ivorian president would send envoys to Ghana, and together the two governments will tell the world what it is that they are willing to do in respect of this judgment. So for now, the president will hold his peace until that engagement with the Ivorian envoys, and then we can let the Ghanaian people know what the formal positions of the two governments are.
While in New York, President Akufo-Addo addressed the Bloomberg Global Business Forum, where he noted education is the most important of the SDGs with the potential to harness Africa's fortunes. The president, together with some African heads.
3news.com. Good night.